Read or die. Read or die. What is that? A suggestion? A threat? Don't threaten me, anime. I don't like ultimatums. Don't try pushing me around. I'll drop you right now. I never opened Find Waldo Now as a kid. Don't tell me when to find Waldo. I'll find him when I'm damn well ready. I read plenty. Read or die? What are you gonna do, huh? Huh? Step up, anime.
Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy.
Sorry about that. Where was I? Alright. Hey, remember books? Those things people used to physically read, with pages, covers, and such? You'd shove about a dozen of them in your backpack for school, and we're just discovering our terrible back problems because of that? Remember that Book It program where you'd get personal pizzas for finishing books? Remember those Scholastic catalogs you'd get as a child? I can't do e-readers to this day, even though they've sunk bookstores. I need to have that tactile sensation of the bulk in my grasp, the pages between my fingers, and the smell of the ink. And while I don't do nearly as much novel reading as I used to, I enjoy a good book. Kind of a weird thing then that I'm using new media to review a video series that you watch instead of read. Unless you watch it with subtitles, of course. That is about an ardent bibliophile who defies the paperless society, introducing us to, what would you call it? Paper kineticism? Read or Die is a 3-part OVA about Yumiko Reedman, a book-obsessed young woman who lives in a mountain of tomes. She's more than just a rabid reader, though. She actually uses paper as a weapon. As an agent of the British government, Agent the Paper takes on threats to the Empire with her ability to manipulate paper. She can turn paper into weapons, shields, and all sorts of things. A very unique superpower, though one with a pretty glaring flaw.
Chase the tap, you sicko!
Boom! Nostalgia bomb! Yumiko's usual day involves roaming Tokyo looking for new books to read. She seems particularly fond of an underground bookstore where she finds a book she's eager to purchase, The Immortal Beloved. Once Yumiko is enchanted by a book, it's hard to catch her attention, but eventually a horde of roving insect minions succeed. Apparently somebody else really wants the book she's obtained. This really creepy bug guy. But Yumiko will have her reading time, bug monster or no.
Hey, wait a minute!
What is going on down there?
Please give me back my book! Please, I just started reading it!
Give it back!
That's when we're introduced to Yumiko's boss, Joker. Not that Joker, but this posh Englishman, Mr. Joker, a prominent member of the British Library's Special Operations Division. He has her taken to the library's secret HQ to discuss the rare book and why she was attacked for it. It turns out that somebody's been making superpowered clones of historical figures to steal rare books in hopes of finding that particular one. You know, like you do. They aren't sure what the clones want with the book or its second volume, but Yumiko is more interested in reading it, much to the amusement of the library's leader, Mr. Gentleman, who promises to give her the books after they've stopped the threat at hand. They call on a special commando operative, Drake, to help investigate the remains of the Library of Congress, which was attacked. Yumiko can't resist exploring the intact parts to look for books, and encounters another agent assigned to the mission, Miss Deep.
I'm Yomiko. Yomiko Reedman.
Really?
I'm sorry, and your name is?
I told you, it's Miss Deep.
That's your real name?
What kind of a secret agent gives their real name to a stranger?
Oh.
Not too bright, are you?
I just thought if we knew each other's names, it would be easier to get along.
We have a working relationship as field agents. Code names will do just fine.
Oh, I see.
Well, it's nice to work with you.
Right! No! Did you Oh! Oh my god!
And that's my superpower. I can dive straight through solid objects, hence the name Deep. You leave yourself way open. You're not much in a fight, are you, Agent Paper?
I'm so sorry. It's just... I have this thing about my glasses.
Well, that was a surprise.
But suddenly they're confronted by a clone of Otto Lilienthal, German aviation pioneer, who arrives with a souped-up flying machine, snatches the book, and jets off. The British and American militaries track him to New York City, and this gets really awkward since this was released shortly before 9/11, and you can clearly see the Twin Towers. The U.S. forces deploy to stop the Glider King, but another of the clones attacks, and the president pisses himself. So, if you're following so far, clones of famous people want to steal a book from a woman who uses paper as a weapon working for the British Library. When American forces try to stop a long-dead German aviator, a man who fires electricity wipes out dozens of helicopters, which makes the president pee. I'm sure lots of paper was involved in the making of this anime. Rolling papers. So what's Yomiko and her group going to do when they need air superiority? Well...
You've got to be kidding.
She's insane.
Hurry up!
Here, take it.
This is a really bad idea.
Don't blame me if you die.
I already do.
3, 2, 1, fire!
Oh, darn!
That girl's nothing but bad luck.
What's wrong with the airplane?
Sorry, I forgot to make the tail. Takeoff went well.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
The giant paper airplane versus super glider battle goes a lot better for the former than you'd expect, but it takes a little doing from our heroes. Miss Deep, for her part, dives into Old Lady Liberty in anticipation, while Yomiko distracts Lilienthal. This is a woman who badly wants her book back. With careful planning, they snag the glider, and Yomiko narrowly avoids plummeting to her doom by the crown. I think Yomiko is more pleased at retrieving the book than escaping the situation with her life. But nevertheless, Miss Deep decides to open up a bit to her.
Thank you so much, Miss Deep.
Nancy Makahari.
But I thought you said...
No, it's all right. I don't really like my code name. It sounds like a porn star.
I'm Yomiko. Yomiko Reedman.
I know, you told me.
How charmingly bizarre. A paper-kinetic bookworm and a woman who phases through objects riding a giant paper airplane to the Statue of Liberty to stop a long-dead German aviator. Are we sure Yasuhiro Imagawa didn't create this? After becoming closer during combat, Miss Deep, Nancy, dotes on Yomiko, who seems more interested in the Immortal Beloved, apparently a romance book. She gives Nancy a bookmark as a sign of friendship, telling her it'll give her luck with romance, but Miss Deep tells her that real love is too complicated to be charmed. The group arrives via submarine in India, where one of the clones was tracked with the hope of obtaining the second volume of the book. Their contact at a store there is missing, and they examine the place. And like clockwork, they're confronted by another threat.
I am Genjo. Saiten Genjo Sanzo Hosh.
Genjo, get me everything you've got.
Are you trying to take my book away from me, too?
Of course. I once journeyed here to retrieve a sacred scroll. But today I've come only for that book. Such trickery is useless against a Bupo master. So why not go quickly to your death?
Get the hell out of here.
But Nancy!
Move it!
Genjo Sanzo is the main character in the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West, a monk who traveled from China to India to retrieve Buddhist scriptures. On his journey, he allied with supernatural beings. Now, I guess technically Sanzo was based on a real-life historical figure, but having all these superpowers? Not so much. And yes, Journey to the West was the inspiration for manga like Dragon Ball and Saiyuki. If you didn't know that already, I have nothing to say to you. Stop watching my videos. This Thanksgiving, pause to reflect on what's most important. Family, friends, and Fruitimals. Fruitimals by Lucky Squid Studios. Delightful fruit animal hybrid plushies. Orange Fox, Octo Cherry, and Eggplantipus. It's a cornucopia of cuteness. This several-course meal is served on Store Envy and Society 6. So stuff the stuffing, deny the pie. The main course this year is Fruitimals. Fruitimals, nutritious for your hug diet. Well, whatever power set Sanzo has since being cloned, it's working out pretty well for him, because Yomiko and Miss Deep seem entirely outclassed. The paper has to go on the defensive just to keep up. The submarine fires a missile at him, but the Mad Monk manages to maneuver miraculously. Wow, this guy is OP. This requires another desperate gambit by our heroines, who defeat Sanzo, but at a cost. Nancy is badly injured, and the clones take off with the book. Yomiko and Miss Deep barely make it to the submarine. Yomiko stays by Nancy's bedside as she recovers from the fight. Their friendship has grown ever closer now. Meanwhile, Joker confirms that the book is actually written by Beethoven, but he's at a loss as to why the clones want to possess it. But speaking of the classic composer, suddenly his Ode to Joy is being broadcast over all channels. The leader of the clones is Ikkyo Shojin, a historical Japanese monk, who waxes philosophical on the sins of mankind, overpopulation, and how he plans to change it. But to put a point on it, he reveals that Miss Deep has been his inside agent this whole time. Even when it's revealed she's the enemy, Yomiko defends Nancy, unable to treat her as hostile. Miss Deep phases out, leaving a devastated Yomiko. Well, this has gotten a bit convoluted. Planting Miss Deep into the organization seems pretty pointless when the various historical clones would have easily been able to obtain the book without her being there. In fact, her being in the agency only made things harder for them because she assisted in defeating two of them. What exactly is EQ's plan here? Joker is given full control of all coalition forces in order to take out the enemy base. Yomiko and Drake manage to get on the rig but are quickly subdued. Ikkyo taunts Yomiko in captivity, revealing his master plan. With the two books in his possession, he plans to reconstruct a secret suicide symphony Beethoven composed that will cause mass suicides across the globe after being broadcast. It turns out that Nancy, a clone of the Matahari, has been working for EQ for a while. But it also turns out that there are two Nancys, and one is the evil one, I guess, who seemingly kills the other one, and she was the real one who betrayed the British Library? What? Wait, so when did the two Miss Deeps switch places? During the fight with Genjo Sanzo? Does that mean that the Nancy that Yomiko made friends with isn't really a traitor? Or that she was, but didn't want to be? What exactly is the point of having the two Miss Deeps in this? Just have one that is the traitor, but regrets it. Yomiko manages to get free from captivity just as EQ begins to launch a rocket which will deliver the Suicide Symphony to the world. The electric guy confronts Drake, but our gal the paper arrives just in time to fight him. The fight is difficult, but she gives him an icy reception. Yomiko catches up with EQ and Miss Deep, one of them, who blocks her path. But before she can be killed, the other Nancy drops.
Nancy, it's you!
Hi. I killed you. I can be a real pain in the ass. But that's probably what kept me alive, you know? Get moving, Agent Paper.
But you...
You came here to do something, didn't you? Now hurry up and go finish your mission.
Right!
Forget about her. You've got me.
The rocket is launched and EQ believes he's won, but Yomiko is as determined as ever to retrieve her book. When Nancy appears, it's not at first clear which one it is, but it turns out it's the one who wants to redeem herself.
Traitorous woman!
That's what makes us such a perfect couple.
One more minute and the world.
I never cared about the world. I just wanted you to keep loving me the way I love you. Agent Paper, the rest is up to you.
Right.
Yomiko destroys Beethoven's death instrument as Miss Deep regrets her decisions in life. And unfortunately, the only way down for Yomiko is to turn the pages of her precious book into a parachute. But Nancy decides it would be best if it was a solo trip, and lets go of her at the last moment. The rocket is presumably destroyed in the atmosphere, and the day is saved. In an epilogue, Yomiko visits the other Nancy, who has amnesia due to brain damage.
Hi there. Here, let me see that for a second.
That's so cool! I'm sorry. Who are you?
Yomiko Reedman. Your older sister was a really good friend of mine.
I have an older sister?
Yeah, you did. She was strong and gentle and she once helped save the world.
Wow, that was fun, but it raises an alarming number of questions. You know, like for instance, who made the clones, the so-called Egen? Did somebody just decide to make one clone of a historical figure, and that clone was bored one day and had access to the clone machine? Why clone historical figures like Lilienthal and EQ, who really didn't have that much impact on the world? Beethoven I can understand, but Genei Hiraga? I mean, what made the clones formidable were their superpowers, but why base them off historical figures at all? Just make an army of Genjo Sanzos, who was clearly the most powerful one. Who set EQ up with so much equipment? How did he obtain all the technology he was using? How did those headquarters come into being without anybody noticing before? What is going on in this OVA?
It just raises too many questions.
Much like Bye Bye Lady Liberty, I have a feeling that the writers just kinda took a bunch of premises and blended them together to see how it turned out. A smattering of different ideas that only vaguely fit together, and while pretty entertaining, are stone-cold stupid on even a cursory glance of the plotline. So the verdict I have for this is, while it looks impressive, Read or Die is as superficial as anime gets. Next time on Otaku Evolution, let's put Go-Go 13 in our crosshairs. Until then, see ya!